that Chuck Schumer's desire to make this very low-ball offer for the government to reopen was actually in the best interest of us, the American people. And after hearing from my Congresswoman, I'm even more convinced of that fact. And in that video, I said, with no factual basis whatsoever, my own 100% speculation is that the airlines are breathing down Chuck's neck. And not just Chuck, but other moderate, Jean Shaheen. I had to pause there so I wouldn't swear too much. I'm trying to rein it in, y'all. I swore more than my fair share yesterday. But, these establishment corporate Democrats in the Senate who take a ton of money and then they're kind of beholden to the sources of that money. And it's really a question of whether they truly prioritize representation for their constituents in their state. And also in this instance, the survival of American democracy, because they behave in ways that consistently undermine democracy, side with the fascists, or at the very least, throw us, the American people, under the bus in order to pander to their wealthy corporate donors. And I referenced in that video the fact that there were senators. Unfortunately, I think Senator Padilla from California was one. Maybe Adam Schiff. I have to go look it up off the top of my head. I can't quite remember. Who took money from big crypto and then voted for the crypto bill. Yeah, I just looked it up. 18 Democrats voted for Donald Trump's corrupt, awful crypto bill that Elizabeth Warren was warning us all about. Was something Trump really, really wanted passed. And, when a fascist wants something to go through, maybe the folks who are supposed to be the opposition party, the pro-democracy party standing up against the fascists, maybe they shouldn't give the fascists what they want. It says to me they had to pay back their crypto donors by voting for this bill. We just have so many examples of this. So when I was talking about this government shutdown, I was like, okay, is it the airlines that are pressuring corporate Democrats in the Senate to cave on the shutdown? But in the comments of that video, someone said, no, Angela, I think it's not just the airlines, it's also Walmart that's pressuring Democrats in the Senate to reopen the government as soon as possible. Do you know why that is? For all of the Republicans who are bitching about poor people needing SNAP benefits, the fact that 12% of the American population needs SNAP, they don't seem to understand the fact that in so many ways, SNAP is actually corporate welfare. Just like all of the buyouts for the airlines, where do you think SNAP money ultimately goes? First of all, corporations like Walmart, they pay their employees below a living wage on purpose. They pay them just low enough that those folks will qualify for Medicaid and SNAP. They don't have to offer them health insurance, and then they will get SNAP money from the government. And guess where those Walmart employees spend that SNAP money? At Walmart. It's a fucking grift. It's a fucking racket. They increase their profit margin by paying their employees an exploitive wage. They calculate their employees taking SNAP and then funneling those SNAP dollars back into Walmart. So they doubly exploit their employees. They keep them living in poverty, and then they use their employees as a conduit for them to get more of our taxpayer money. Do you understand? Do you understand how this works? There's a reason that I don't shop at Walmart, and I haven't for 18 years. The only time I shopped at Walmart was when we lived in Siletz, Oregon, and I had to drive into Newport, and there are not a ton of shopping options there. And I only did it grudgingly. So here at the end, let me talk about this piece that came out on October 28th in Axios. It's entitled How the SNAP Freeze Will Squeeze Walmart and Grocery Stores. I don't know why I read the title like that, but that's kind of funny, so I'm going to leave it in. Okay, so SNAP payments are now, suspended unless you live somewhere like here in Oregon. Our governor, Tina Kotek, committed to making sure that folks' Oregon Trail cards got charged up, even if Donald Trump was withholding that money. And there is a hold on a judge's order to disperse all of the SNAP funding while the Supreme Court considers that case. So we'll see where that's going to go. But as of October 28th, we were looking at mega corporations like Walmart, realizing that they were going to lose this cash cow of SNAP benefits. Because it's all about profit for them. It's not about human suffering. It's not about starving children and starving elders who are being trapped in systemic poverty by corporations. So shutting down SNAP halts about $8 billion a month in federal food assistance from flowing into the economy. 24% of SNAP shoppers gets about $2.1 billion of our tax money every month from SNAP. Kroger gets about $750 million a month, I think. So what we're hearing is that Walmart, Albertsons, which I believe is owned by a Republican Mormon family, Aldi. I know people like to talk up Aldi's, but they're union busters. Their parent corporation also owns Trader Joe's, also anti-union. Kroger and Target all rely on taxpayer dollars from SNAP to cover their bottom line and enhance their profit margin. All of those corporations have a trade group that is kind of, their mouthpiece, the Food Industry Association. And they spoke broadly on behalf of all of these businesses to Axios and warned that a lapse in SNAP would have ripples through local economies. When SNAP benefits are redeemed, they don't just help families put food on the table, they also sustain full-time jobs and local communities and contribute to the local tax base. Anybody else read that as like low-key a little bit of a threat, restore SNAP, or we're going to have to start laying off Walmart employees who we know are being deprived of their SNAP benefits, and now we're going to lay them off. And so they're going to be, in abject poverty? By the way, the Republicans are going to take Medicaid away from those folks. Yeah, it's not good for grocery stores for SNAP to be closed. But please understand, when we're looking at SNAP benefits, that's not exclusively about helping hungry people. Just like WIC, the Women, Infants, and Children program, which I used to work for, is not actually really about feeding hungry children and pregnant people and getting formula to infants. I mean, that's a part of it, but it's really a government agricultural subsidy that originally gave out like cheese and milk. Cereal grains, there's a reason that there are only certain things you can get on WIC, and those are far more about agricultural subsidies. Just like USAID, right? Fed millions of hungry people around the world, but also it was really about an agricultural subsidy for America's farmers. It was a farm and commodities subsidy very much. These things are more complicated than Republican voters want to see. But likewise, Democratic voters should not be naive about the ways that Democratic electeds, especially in the Senate, are susceptible to pressure from these big corporations who fund them. This is why we need billionaires and dark money and foreign money out of our politics. Also, why is Walmart not pressuring Republicans to make a deal? Why are they pressuring Democrats? It's Republicans, after all, who have shut down the government. It is Donald Trump and Mike Johnson who are refusing to release SNAP funds. It's Brooke Rollins of the USDA. It's Trump who's holding back this money, not Democrats. It's Trump and the Republicans who have shut down the government, and we would all do well to remember that.
Wow. Well, folks, a lot of people are asking me, Johnny, are you worried about the old country, Germany and all? No, I'm not worried about them.
I'm a musician for over 40 years. I've been in several bands like Big Sur, Mars Volta, Marilyn Manson, Vato Negro.
We are seeing techniques that Hitler used in the Reich here now in the United States. So no, we're not worried about other countries here. The civilians are not worried about other countries. We're worried about our own. It's like I told people, history repeats itself, and we're seeing a second coming of Hitler. One of these idiots, or whatever. I don't know how many. Maybe Hitler came back with a bunch of people and they're running the whole show. But I can say this: American citizens are tired of. Well, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans, it's the Democrats. It's a ping pong thing against this two-headed Cyclops monster. So no one. The only people that suffer is us poor people, the veterans. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're unreal. You can't work no more, so now you're getting government help or whatever, and you're no good." Well, most of these veterans are on the same program as I am. So what are they doing? Well, now we're seeing these people, change their story. They won't beat on the veterans, but they'll beat on the people that are older on it and people that have disabilities. But it's okay for the veterans when you talk to some of these people, right? I was listening to that one guy the other day, and he was saying, 50% of the people on SNAP benefits are veterans, right? And that's true. I'm not going to lie. That's true. Probably over more than that. So they're beating us down, right? Physically, verbally, We're no good. Although our families went to fight in this war for these people. And let me repeat this again. The United States has never won a war on itself. I don't know who's teaching these people. It's obvious they didn't go to high school. They didn't go to grammar school, and they don't know history. You know, what are we seeing? It's scary what we're seeing, and it's scary what we're going to have to do. And a lot of people are saying, well, are you kidding me? Well, you're going to have to, or these people will starve your whole country. They're using witchery, sorcery. It's all a proven fact now. CIA's been investigating these people for a while. Magic, all this stuff. We're going, they want us to go back to the olden days. And if they do that, they're going to be impaling. They'll be impaling a lot of people and burning them at torches and stakes, because that's what they did back in the day. So, yeah, the people are pretty much sick of this. Holidays are coming up. Can't these people get things straight? And of course, Walmart, the big businesses, car companies, no one's buying car, no one's doing. And now all these corporations want to be bailed out by the government, by the taxpayer. And the taxpayer are just slaves. I don't know. Wake up, folks. You folks have a great day. I'll be back here again. But there it is, right from the horse's mouth. This whole SNAP thing. War. These people shouldn't be getting that. I told you, it's just horrible. It's horrible. The United States was known at one point of being the greatest country in the world when we took care of these people that deserved it. Some of these kids need to be on this program. They were born with problems, right? And you're doing exactly what the Third Reich did, was you're pushing these kids aside, and you're saying they're damaging our country. They're holding our country down. Let me tell you this much. You ain't going to see no president out in the street paving roads. You ain't going to see no president of the United States out there building houses like we did, the citizens. You ain't going to see them digging ditches. You ain't going to see them cleaning stables out to make a living. They're killing their own country. Why? I don't know. Delusional? Maybe. Completely, whatever they've been spraying in the ground and air is finally taking effect? Probably. Over 50% of Congress, Senate, and the government people are on disability and getting checks. Figure that out. Scam? Yeah, I'd say it is. Disability and Social Security is supposed to be for the civilian life, not government, where you're making $500,000 a year and you're collecting $200 in disability. It's just crazy. But there's the scam. Walmart now is worried about their profits, so now they're bringing in $200 billion in food stamp money, and they want them to open up. How is business? Tell me how business is running the United States of America. We got to open up. The car companies are doing the same. The plane companies, the airports, and everyone that owns these companies are doing the same thing. Why? Well, because they don't want the money to come out of their own pocket. They know if they go to the government will bail them out. The United States citizens will bail them out as we suffer and eat shoe leather for Christmas dinner. So, yeah, I'm done with it, too. All right, you folks have a great day. We'll be back more with this SNAP benefit thing and all these people going crazy. Have a good day.